Hey, I'm about to give you a new book review, but stay tuned to the very end because you get to hear from the author herself. This is a super special bonus feature, so you don't want to miss it. Hello, Kim Patton here with another book to review. This time I'm doing The Minister's Wife by Karen Stiller, a memoir of faith, doubt, friendship, loneliness, forgiveness, and more. You know me and my absolute obsession with memoir. So this one ranked pretty high, mainly because it's a Christian memoir from a minister's wife, obviously the minister's wife. And that's rare. I haven't read a lot of memoir by Christian women, especially in the ministry. So this book stuck out to me, and I picked it up because I heard her on a podcast, and I had just left being a pastor's wife, not by my own choice. I didn't really have anything to do with it, but my husband's job as a pastor was 4 years long, and at the end of the 4 years, it kind of stopped abruptly. So, with leaving church in general, it's always messy, and that doesn't mean that anyone was, right or wrong, or that things, were a colossal mistake and you never should have been there in the first place. It wasn't like that for us at all. But leaving is not usually great, because you've been with these people for years and you love them and they love you. And we had just gotten Eden, so she was only like 4 or 5 months old, and I had been envisioning, being a pastor's wife for longer and a youth pastor's wife. And I really loved those teenagers. So leaving that church was difficult. And when I heard her on this podcast, it kind of came at the perfect time for me, because she was just very kind and compassionate and gracious and very open about the issues as a minister's wife. Things just are different. So that's why her subtitle is so long. Faith, doubt, friendship, loneliness, forgiveness, and more. There's a lot to being human. All those things are human emotions, human experiences. But as a minister's wife, and me for a pastor's wife, there's just some things that are a little bit different in your specific life circumstance. So as a pastor's wife reading this book, or an ex-pastor's wife, I related to it a lot. And I was messaging with her before I even read it, because I read another book by her about writing for Christian writers, and I really enjoyed that. That wasn't a memoir. That was more of a how-to, as a writer, it's called Craft, Cost, and Call, or something like that. I'll put it in the links below. But it was about writing, and so that was kind of an easier book to read. And then she had come out with this memoir, and I thought, I don't want to read a minister's wife memoir just when I'm grieving being a pastor's wife being done. So I was a little bit hesitant, but she gently encouraged me. She said, no, it really is for for you. And she was totally right, of course. I find Karen Stiller to be very wise. As you're reading these pages, you can just tell that she has so much experience to what she's saying, and she'll throw a little story in, or a little sarcastic remark, or a little poetic line or two, and there's just a richness to her storytelling. So I felt like when I was reading this, I was reading someone who has been through so many things in life. She's really lived the nitty-gritty day-to-day kind of things. And she's also come across a lot of situations with people. So her wisdom on how to interact with people is fantastic. And I learned so much. And she's a different person than me, but she's very unique. Her personality is a little bit of dry humor, And sarcasm, which I married a sarcastic man. So the sarcasm, I don't know how to be sarcastic, but they are really great at it. My husband and Karen Stiller. So reading her stories and the way she talks about her husband or people in the church, or she just kind of slides it in there, like a little bit of anger, a little bit of biting remark under her breath. And I just can't get enough of that. I just want to know all of her, all of her true thoughts as she's interacting with someone. I want to know what she's really thinking. And she tells you. So I found it to be very honest. And I will say there's one story in there that is very, very powerful. It's about a car accident. She and her daughter, I believe, are driving and they happen upon a car accident. And those chapters just had me like so gripped. I needed to know what happened. I wanted to know about the families involved. I wanted to know everything. And the way she wrote it was really beautiful. Her writing is beautiful. It's an enjoyable journey. Memoir is beautiful because it's so honest and it just cuts to the heart of who we are and our real experiences. And she has been through some real experiences. I mean, she has been hurt by well-meaning church people. And she has gone to funerals that she didn't want to go to. Or she has, sat up in the front of church and been embarrassed for blah, blah, blah. So all of these things she's talking about, it just brings our humanity and our reality to the forefront, that we can be exactly who we are. We can take our unique personality traits to whatever God has called us to do. So she's a minister's wife. So she is placed next to her husband. That is his job. And so she is automatically right there. Not every woman has that burden of being directly next to their husband's reputation and position in the church. There's a lot of women that do have that challenge, and I think they should all write books because I love reading them. And if you know of any other pastor wife memoirs or just ministry wife memoirs that you have loved, please tell me, because this one really opened my eyes to how much I love these types of stories. Because you can read Christian nonfiction that kind of tells you about the spiritual life and the Christian choices you can make, what we should do. But I really liked this format of just coming alongside another human and saying this is what it's like to be human, and it's okay. Everything you're feeling is okay. Especially when she gets into loneliness and friendship. And I have experienced that firsthand, how being a part of the church where your husband is in leadership, your friendships and relationships can be different. They can be held in a different light because of who you're married to. So I highly recommend it. Once again, The Minister's Wife by Karen Stiller. And she has written another book about Christian writing, like I said, and she's also, she lives in Canada. So she has that worldview, or not worldview, but that point of view that was interesting and different. She's a great person to follow online. And bonus, after I'm done talking here in 10 seconds, you get to hear from her personally. So she made a little video talking directly to you, so you get to see her beautiful face. And she's going to plug the book for you and tell you a little bit more about it. So I hope that you'll pick it up. There's links underneath. And let me know what you think.
Hi there. My name is Karen Stiller. I'm the author of The Minister's Wife, a memoir of faith, doubt, friendship, forgiveness, loneliness, and more. I've been a writer and a minister's wife for over 20 years, and I was speaking recently with a couple of other Christian writers, and we were talking about where we feel called to write. And I had this moment of clarity where I realized that my calling, I believe, is to write very honestly in Christian places and spaces. And that is what I've tried to do in The Minister's Wife. It's a spiritual memoir that explores topics like forgiveness, envy, disappointment, family, and other areas that we all have to deal with and live with in our lives. The very best part of this book coming out for me has been connecting with readers and people who have resonated with the book in some way, who have reached out to me. And I have responded to every email or message that I've received because I love to make that connection too. One of my favorite writers, Anne Lamott, says that our stories are medicine, and I really believe that. And it just means the world to me to think that The Minister's Wife might be in some way, part of healing and exploring for someone else. So, and Kim is a great example of that. Kim read my book and we connected, and I feel like we're friends now. So if you do read it, please reach out. I would love to speak with you. And thank you so much.